I think that over the years, I've tried a lot of life coaches, a lot of traditional counseling, and it never really seemed to work. I think I still had this like ridden anxiety. I wouldn't say fear, but a lot of struggles from whether it's past, whether it's through traumas or through experiences that kind of led me astray. So I kind of wanted to fix those situations and kind of working with you and the concept and the idea of mixing life and business with being very zen. It was, one of those things that was just a perfect match. Yeah, I think that as an entrepreneur, you always are going to have this anxiety that you're not going to make enough money or that you're not going to be able to take this next step to making six figures to making more than that. And kind of that Zen way gives you that level-headed perspective of understanding the relationship that an individual can have with money. So with me, I was able to kind of seize any sort of internal fires and battles that I had with my money and the anxiety that I had with that, and be able to kind of bring that down. And while I did that, I was able to actually increase my income at the same time. But it wasn't always about that. It was also about the concept of how can I just stay very calm? And with that calm mind, I was able to make better decisions, talk to employees better, and also build a better network instead of being so high strung, high stress, high anxiety all the time. Yeah, I'd say because, the time that I had with you was so valuable, I would say that aside from the monetary value that I can speak to, I think that personal value, I couldn't get any of that back. I think that it was worth the time just from a personal investment, whether I made a return on investment on the monetary value or not. But then when it came to the monetary value, I was able to triple my income within the first 4 to 6 months. And then, it's still continuing as I progress. And so that number looks now around an additional 10 to 15K a month and is slowly creeping up every week and every month. I think what I found surprising was I was still able to be the same aggressive, high functional individual in stressful situations. And in just how I viewed life, I'd always go very fast. But I was still able to, through this process, be able to bring myself back and kind of move slower. But I wouldn't say the pace was slower. I think that as the outside world was a little bit fast and I was moving fast, my mind was slow. And I think that was something that I was able to kind of conquer and kind of shift perspective about, which is, when it really comes to your high performance type B individuals that are very successful, that's one of those qualities that they hold is being able to move fast, but at the same time have a calm mind. So kind of being able to mix those two kind of made me very lethal in terms of, the stairs that I can take to success.
What did you find most helpful about the process that I offer in the coaching, inside and outside of the sessions?
Yeah, I think outside, it was really nice to kind of always have an individual there. I never really had a very strong, I would say, father figure. And I'm not saying that you were a father figure, but it was also kind of, you did give that guidance that was very much like a older brother or a father figure in a sense that you were there if I need to, vent. You were there if I was able to talk about a situation that I didn't know necessarily how to deal with. And it would kind of be like more of an authoritative figure, but also like very friendly, like a friend. And I think that was extremely valuable. I think the one thing that most surprised me was the steps that we took in the process from the first session all the way to the last session. I thought I was going into it and being like, oh, okay, this is going to be all about business and money. And then I was going to be on my merry way. But really it was about kind of understanding my growth trajectory all the way from a young age, any sort of issues or situations that I went through growing up and how that actually affected me long term. So we were able to kind of take a look at those, dissect that and say, okay, how did this, translate to, the older you? And what is something that you could have done differently to make that situation better and how can you cope with that situation, and kind of just build upon it rather than seeing it as like this anxious past or this anxious situation that you once had. But how can I turn that into something that's very pure and very beautiful, and that it actually could turn into a lesson now, but also moving forward. Yeah, I think that I 100% recommend it. I think that there are those types of people that look at the kind of monetary value and they kind of associate, okay, this may be not the service for me. But realistically, I think that's the first step that an individual has to take specifically with this program, is really understanding, hey, I need to actually invest in myself to get the most out of it. The good things in life, I wouldn't say don't come cheap, but they always come with value. So if you're willing to actually put in what you actually think you're going to get out of it, then that's all individuals should really think about. But then I think also at the same time, it's, I think the Zen way is a lot better than this traditional way that is out there. And being a step ahead of somebody, because this is going to be the new wave when it comes into, this year, next year, and the years to come. And you don't want to be a step behind the ball, and you don't want to have to be in something where you're trying to figure something out for the last 5 years, and then you're still not figuring it out, where you can kind of, speed up that growth and speed up that power that you have inside of you so that you hit it quicker. And I think that that's a huge thing with your program in general, is being able to take the necessary steps quickly but efficiently. I think that's what's the most important piece of it all.
Beautiful. I love that answer. Anything else that you would like to add before we close?
No, I think that kind of just overall, and I just want to appreciate my gratitude and all the work that you did put into for me, whether it was late night texts or early morning texts or frantic calls that you received. I appreciate, being able to take the time during your personal life, some of those days, and some of those days just, saying, hey, Matt, calm down and relax. We'll get to it in a day. I want you to sit with this feeling. And I think that was absolutely phenomenal. But I think that also just being able to mix those practices that weren't your standard, Q&A, and, working in the breath work, working in different questions that I could journal on, or any sort of meditations that I could use. I think that, I really do appreciate you sharing the knowledge that you have with me. That allows me to kind of do it on my own terms now, and grow even further. So I do appreciate you.
Thank you for that. It's been an absolute pleasure.